channel. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing since you probably are interested in Honda Rebel content. So, yes, you saw the title, do not buy a Honda Rebel. Well, I'll tell you why. I think this bike is not for everybody, and I'll give the pros and the cons. So guys, here you are, you're looking at a 2023 Honda Rebel 1100 DCT. What does a DCT mean? Well, look. Do you notice something? There's no clutch. It's an automatic bike, 1100 cc's. Yes, you heard that right. So why do I say that the Honda Rebel you should not buy? Well, I'll tell you why. I love that I bought this bike. I have no regrets, and I think this is the funnest bike I've ever been on. The NAVI, you've seen me with my other content, a lot of Honda NAVI stuff, a lot of mini moto stuff. Fun bike. It's also a great beginner bike. If you're new to motorcycle riding, you might want to consider a Honda NAVI. It's almost like a scooter in disguise. It is a CVT transmission, which means it's twist and go. It's a smaller and lighter bike. One thing I like about the Honda NAVI is if you're new to motorcycle riding, not only is it going to get you used to just riding, but it's going to get you used to your surroundings, how to handle traffic, how to handle stop and go traffic, just different things, watching out for potholes, bumps in the road, things like that. Things you really don't need to pay attention when you're driving a car. You do and you don't. It's a little bit more serious when you're riding a motorcycle, especially a mini motorcycle. So the NAVI prepares you for things like that. It's funny because when you're on a motorcycle, you notice every little dip in the road, you notice every little pothole. Now my brain is just trained to be staring at the road. For the Honda Rebel, I am 5'8", and I think the Honda Rebel is perfect for my height, maybe up to 6 feet. I know there are other people who have reviewed this bike that are 6 feet that said they rode this bike very comfortably. If you're taller than 6 feet, this might not be the bike for you. I'll tell you why. It has this very low profile seat here, and the way the stance is, I have no issues flat footing this bike. It's funny because I actually have a little bit more harder of a time flat footing the Honda NAVI than I do the Rebel. On the Honda NAVI, I'm almost tiptoed just a tiny bit, or on the Honda Rebel, no issues. Totally flat foot, knees are bent, perfectly comfortable. It is a very comfortable riding position. I do like it. So that might be a con for somebody who's a little bit taller. If you're 6 foot or taller, you might not like this bike. Another reason you might not like this bike is the options. Maybe you're more into the aesthetics of a motorcycle. For the Honda Rebel, each Rebel has a different colorway. Unfortunately, they don't offer too many colors. So for this Honda Rebel 1100 DCT, you can get it in this charcoal metallic gray, or you can get it in a green color. It's like a metallic green. That's really your only other option. I actually fell in love with this colorway, along with the matte black plastics and the black frame of the bike. Everything about it I love. But if you're a person who, wants different colors such as yellow and red and all that, well, this bike might not be for you. Another reason this bike might not be for you is that, well, you see a rear passenger seat, but unfortunately here in America, it does not come with that passenger seat. This is separate, and actually, believe it or not, this is separate too. When you do buy this pad, you do get the foot pegs. You will get this extension with the peg, and you'll get a peg on that side. That's when you purchase this, and it's roughly, I think, $134.99. And then to buy the backrest, this is all Honda OEM. This is also separate to make it all fit together. So if you're a person who has a passenger all the time and you guys do long trips a lot, you guys really like to ride, this bike might not be for you. As you can see, that is a very small pad. And it's not the most comfortable pad in the world. It's got some comfort once you break it in, but it's not the most comfortable seat, and it might not be for your passenger who enjoys long rides. So if your passenger enjoys long rides, I don't think they're gonna enjoy that seat too much. And unfortunately, that's how the Honda Rebel makes their OEM seat. You can buy other aftermarket seats. Other reasons you might not like a Honda Rebel is, well, it does not come with a windshield. That is something you would have to buy separate. Another reason is there's not much storage on this bike. Underneath the seat, you have very little storage. You can hold maybe your wallet and the manual that I have that comes with this, and an insurance card, maybe some car keys, and that's it. So if you do get the 2023 Honda Rebel 1100T, the T stands for touring, you actually do get saddlebags. You get 2 hard case saddlebags on each side that do lock. It also comes with a front cowl, which this does not. Now, when I say you might not like a Honda Rebel, well, let's get into the details. You have the Honda Rebel 300, the Honda Rebel 500, and the Honda Rebel 1100. Price point for each one I'll have in the description. Now, the 300 is obviously 300 cc's, the 500 is 500 cc's, and the 1100 is 1100 cc's. If you're just starting to ride a motorcycle and you're wanting to learn, I would suggest the Honda Rebel 300. Start out there and then maybe move your way up. Or if you grasp on the learning things pretty quick, such as motorcycle riding, start out with the Honda Rebel 500 and then maybe eventually move up to the 1100. There are some differences in between the 500 and 1100 as far as looks, just a little bit. And then you also have a difference in the gauge here. This odometer will be a little bit different, a little bit more, I think this one's a little bit more sleeker looking than the one you get with the 500 or the 300. Now, this being a Honda Rebel 1100 DCT, standing for dual clutch transmission. So essentially this bike is automatic. All you do is twist and go. Is the bike fast? Yes, it's very fast. It's pretty cool to hear this bike shift and downshift as it does it by itself. The shifting is very smooth, it's crisp, I love it. And when you really take off at a light, this thing really takes off. It's pretty insane. So what are the pros of this bike? Well, to me, I've said it in my other videos, it's everything. I love that I actually love the riding position with this bike. It's very comfortable for me. The braking is amazing on this bike. Other things are I just love the look of this bike. I love how you have this tank that sits on top of this frame. The stance of this bike is really cool to me. I fell in love with it the day I saw this bike in person. If you've never seen a Honda Rebel in person, I suggest you go to your local Honda dealership and sit on one, and I guarantee you will love it. It's way better seeing it in person than it is just watching a video of mine or anyone else's. There's a few bikes that Honda makes I suggest you see in person. You might have seen photos, you might have seen videos, but to see these bikes in person is pretty awesome. The Honda Rebel is definitely one. Another one that comes to mind is the Honda Trail 125. If you've never seen that bike in person, you gotta check it out. It's pretty cool, if you can find one. So cool things I love about this Honda Rebel, you've got the dual shocks, which are adjustable. I love the clear taillight, love the clear turn signals. I love the LED headlight. And then, like I mentioned, the paint color, I don't know if you guys can see it really nicely here, but this metallic gray looks really amazing in person. So one thing that is cool about this bike, it is a digital display. A lot of bikes that are the competitor to this Honda Rebel, they don't have a digital display gauge. I think this is pretty slick looking. You do have your temperature, your fuel, your mileage. You also have a display here showing you what gear you're in, and then you have different modes which you can select here. There's your mode, there's your select. Right now it's in sport mode. You have sport, standard, rain, and then you have a customizable mode. The display is super easy to read in the day and the night, but the pros of this bike definitely outweigh the cons. There's so many pros, and that goes with any Honda Rebel, the 300, 500, 1100. I suggest you get the 1100. That's just my personal preference. If you love to ride, if you like to go quick, So also thing I didn't mention is the Rebel 1100. There's 3 different models. You have your Rebel 1100, which has a clutch. So it's this bike with a clutch. You have your Rebel 1100 DCT, which is this bike you're looking at. It's automatic. And then you have your Rebel 1100 T Touring, which I told you gives you saddlebags. And then you got your front cowl around the headlight and windshield. What makes the Honda Rebel a great bike? Well, it's Honda. You're gonna have minimal issues with this bike. It'll probably outlive you, to be honest with you. The bike is just built very well. You're gonna have to do little maintenance to this bike. So guys, that's gonna wrap it up. Just a short little video, a little bit of clickbait, I guess, but I do suggest you buy a Honda Rebel. I have no complaints. I am definitely addicted to this bike. Do your homework, maybe check out the Honda Rebel 500 and 300 on YouTube. See which bike fits you. Maybe it's the 1100. But obviously price comes into play too. So do your homework before you buy any type of Honda Rebel. Go to your local Honda dealership, sit on it. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment below. I try to get back to everybody in the comments. Might take me a day or two, but I'll eventually get back to you. With that being said, guys, give this video a big thumbs up. I'm gonna hop on this Honda Rebel. I'm gonna go ride. Stay safe. Peace.